We start this noon with breaking news happening on the east side of Bexar County. A 32-year-old man remains in an hours-long standoff with deputies.
They say that he has two kids inside the house in the 9800 block of New Sulphur Springs Road, very close to some East Central ISD schools. Courtney Freeman live at the scene. What is the update, Courtney?
David and Ursula, that house we're talking about is right behind me across the street. You can see it's behind that big tree, but there are law enforcement vehicles all over the place right here. Down this street, the same street, just a block down, are those yellow school signs. And that's what makes it so obvious that this is a situation where the schools would have to be kept safe, the classrooms kept closed until this resolves itself. Let's go back to when this all started. Overnight, Bexar County deputies got a call to the house for an alleged domestic violence situation between a woman and that man that's still locked inside the house. She was able to get out, but she told deputies he was still inside with their two children. A deputy earlier on scene said they were 9 and 12 years old. For hours, BCSO and SWAT negotiators have been trying to communicate with that man, at times yelling to him through a window.
We don't have any indications that there are any firearms in the home or anything like that, but we also can't afford to take any chances. We're taking all appropriate precautions.
That extra precaution extends to the schools as well. Again, East Central ISD schools are not involved in this incident, but because the high school is so close, the district did send a message to parents that reads in part, ECPD has increased its presence at the high school to ensure safe drop-off for students. Out of an abundance of caution, we have gone into modified secure, locking the perimeter down and keeping students in class. Once again, there is no threat on campus and everyone is safe and secure. That message also mentions if you or someone you know is a parent or guardian of these students and you don't receive those messages or notifications, you can just give the office a call and ask for up-to-date information. We, of course, will also have up-to-date information and relay that to you as soon as we get it. We're live from East Bexar County. Courtney Friedman, KSAT12 News.
Thank you very much, Courtney. We are also following more breaking news. Authorities in Kentucky say 4 people are dead and at least 8 others injured after a gunman opened fire in a bank in downtown Louisville this morning. Louisville police say they were called to respond to a shooting at the Old National Bank around 8:30 local time. Eyewitnesses say the shooter appeared to have been armed with a long gun and opened fire in the first floor conference room of the bank, killing at least 4 people and wounding 8 others. The Associated Press saying 2 of the injured are police officers. Law enforcement say the suspect is dead and that this incident is not believed to have been terror-related. The shooter appeared to be a former employee of the bank, according to police. Right now, the FBI and ATF are on the scene assisting local law enforcement.
Well, we are seeing a few showers and storms up across the hill country right now. You can see moving through Kerrville. We do have this one storm that's pushing through Kerr County, kind of just along I-10 here. In fact, it's moving to the south at about 15 miles per hour, very slowly. Just some healthy rain for an area that honestly did not receive all that much rain over the last few days. So it'll be near Tivy High School area, close to 1251, close to Kerrville. At least the heaviest of the rain will be close to Kerrville around about 12:43. Now, we do not see any really significant rain around San Antonio right now. However, we are expected to see a few showers and storms this afternoon popping up around the downtown area and closer to the metro area. So coming up, I'll be walking you through that forecast. Could just impact your afternoon commute a little bit. Details soon. Ursula.
Thank you, Sarah. Lots of questions after 4 major crashes on the west side of town. It happened yesterday afternoon. We're being told it might have been the work of one driver. A driver in a silver pickup truck crashing into a utility pole at the corner of Salvo and General McMullen. The entire block without power, but CPS Energy restored it quickly. There was a person arrested. We were told Park Police are handling the case.
Also new at noon, the city of San Antonio launching a website to help people find affordable housing options. The website has been created as the price of rent increases throughout San Antonio and the state. Proximity to community amenities like parks and public transit, grocery stores, health clinics, and more social services. That's according to the release. By creating a profile, renters can detail their housing needs, and then social workers will search the housing availability to find their clients the best option. The release states to learn more about the website, head to KSAT12.
Classified documents leak on social media, prompting an investigation into who is that leaker.
All this as the Biden administration is doing damage control with its allies after the documents appear to indicate the U.S. was also spying on them. ABC's Ike Ajachi is in Washington with the latest.
The Justice Department now launching a criminal investigation of an apparent major Pentagon intelligence leak. Dozens of classified U.S. intelligence documents, most marked top secret, were leaked and posted online back in late February and early March. Most of those documents we simply cannot show. ABC has not yet authenticated the leaked documents, and we don't have official confirmation whether the documents have been altered. But sources say they expose the United States for spying not just on its adversaries, but also its allies like Israel, South Korea, and even Ukraine. Experts say the leaked documents not only tell our enemies how the U.S. collects intelligence, but also contain clues that could potentially point to the sources and methods the U.S. used to obtain the information.
Apparently, there's some code words here that point to where the analysis came from. This means that it makes it much easier for the Russians to go back and do the counterintelligence work.
The leaked documents forcing allies to respond. South Korea's president downplaying the situation, saying the documents need to be verified first, but that the country will take appropriate measures with the U.S. if necessary. And in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pushing back after documents suggested leaders of Israel's spy agency, the Mossad, had encouraged angry protests against his proposed judicial reforms.
If our allies do not trust us to safeguard their secrets or intelligence that they provide us, they may be more hesitant to provide us intelligence in the future.
As for Ukraine, the leaked documents paint a detailed image of the Ukrainian battlefield on March 1st, showing troop movements, training schedules, and casualty numbers. Over the weekend, U.S. officials were scrambling to reassure its allies and partners. As for Ukraine, they're blaming Russia for the leak, while Russia is pointing to the United States as the source. Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Washington.
Still coming up this half hour, how many care units one local nonprofit is hoping to collect in order to send care packages to deployed service members.
A local nonprofit hoping to collect 20,000 pounds of items for care packages to send to our deployed service members.
Tiffany Huerta shows us how the simplest items can mean the most.
I think in care packages, what you get is a little piece of something to remind you of being at home. You get some of your favorite things.
Angela Johnson retired from the U.S. Army in 2015.
I was deployed in Iraq from 2004 to 2005.
Johnson remembers receiving care packages.
Cards, letters, even when my daughter, she was in her class and her teacher had everyone send like little letters and notes.
Today, she works for the nonprofit Soldiers Angels and helps put together care packages for deployed service members with some of their favorite things. The nonprofit recently kicked off its annual Go Camel Care Package collection drive.
The popular items, of course, are Slim Jims. They're always at the top of the list, and any type of beef jerky products. But trail mix is popular.
There are a lot of different items they will include in the care packages, but it's about the simple things that mean the most, including the downtime items, from puzzles to cards.
President and CEO of Soldiers Angels, Amy Palmer, says their goal this year is to collect 20,000 pounds of items in celebration of the nonprofit's 20th anniversary.
Our goal this year is to have a military vehicle come and fill the military vehicle at the end of the campaign with the 20,000 pounds of items.
You can ship the collected items to Soldiers Angels until June 30th. For Johnson, she is passionate about this campaign and hopes it brings many smiles.
Working here at Soldiers Angels, it was just a dream that I always wanted to do, is just to make someone's life a little happier.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT12 News.
Taking a look outside with live cam, we have got some weather. after a pretty beautiful weekend.
We do. It is cloudy out there right now, and we really haven't seen much sunshine today. But those storms up to the north in the hill country are going to try to push to the south throughout the afternoon. We'll be looking at about a 30% chance this afternoon around San Antonio for hit or miss showers. 73 for the high today. That's it. And then later on tonight, once the rain chances go down, temperatures will only be in the 60s. As far as the aquifer, it could use a drink of water, but there is no change to the aquifer over the past 24 hours. And in the pollen count, it's a doozy. Molds and oaks are high. Pecan and grass is low. I'll be walking through hour by hour the Futurecast coming up in just a bit.
In much of the U.S. and right here in San Antonio, tick season is already starting. And this year there is a new warning about a rise in reported cases of diseases that ticks can spread. So as the weather gets warmer, ticks are getting more active, and there is an emerging tick-borne disease. It's called babesiosis. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says between 2011 and 2019, there was a significant rise in the number of reported cases in the U.S. Severity of symptoms varies, but it tends to be flu-like. It can include fever, chills, sweats, loss of appetite, nausea, and fatigue.
Immunocompromised or don't have a functioning spleen, disease can become quite serious and can even result in death.
To protect yourself, you can practice the ABCs. A, avoid. Stay away from tall grasses and other areas in the woods where the ticks are found. B, bug spray. The CDC recommends one containing DEET or picaridin, among other ingredients. And C, cover up. Protective clothing can actually protect you against the bites.
Well, after that rain we had last week, we ought to have some high grass you need to mow down, huh?
That was me.
Were you mowing this weekend?
I was mowing. Every bone in my body hurts.
Good for you guys. You know what?
You got to get in shape mowing then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm out of practice, right?
Yeah.
We've been in a drought.
Hey, too much rain is a good problem for people right now because, as you said, Ursula, we have been in a drought. And we have the opportunity this afternoon for a lucky few to see some showers, but it's not going to rain everywhere. Take a look outside right now. There are starting to be a few peaks of sunshine around the Alamo City, 67 degrees, east winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's a look at the satellite imagery. You can see a little bit of peaks of sunshine in Guadalupe County. Skiing, it's 68, it's 70 in Pleasanton, but it has been a pretty gray day for us. Look up into the hill country here. Can you see kind of what looks like cauliflower on the satellite images? Those are those puffy cumulus clouds that are starting to actually produce some rain. And here's a look at the live radar. Let's go ahead and take a trip up to the hill country, really zooming in on the area that's seeing the most rain right now, which is Kerr County. And that's good news because Kerr County kind of missed out on some of the very heavier rain that we saw later last week. You can see that there's one heavier rain shower just over I-10 in Gillespie County right now. This is moving to the southeast at about 15 miles per hour. It's pretty slow. If it can hold on through Kerrville, it would make it there closer to 1 o'clock. It would make it to Guadalupe Heights around 1:15. Now let's go ahead and look further to the south because Bandera is also seeing some showers. These are very spotty downpours. There's not even that much lightning with these. There's a couple of flashes here and there. So again, we're not concerned about severe weather at all. It's just that around San Antonio, as we head into the peak of the afternoon, we could see a few isolated downpours peppering the radar around Bexar County right around the time of the evening commute. So it's something to keep in mind. You can keep a track of the weather radar on our KSAT Weather Authority app. We've got a radar there too. Again, these are slowly trying to push to the south and to the east. There's also some light rain out in Maverick County and south of Uvalde too. Now looking at the weather setup, the reason for the spotty rain is that we have what's called a trough of low pressure. It's this elongated area of low pressure. These are not really efficient rainmakers, not like a cold front that quickly produces rain. These are just bringing us bursts of energy, which is why rain will be few and far between this afternoon. About 30% coverage, as you can see in the Futurecast here. This is a snapshot right around 3 at the start of the evening commute. You can see there could be a few showers around. This, of course, is not going to tell you exactly where the rain is. It just gives us an idea that coverage should be about 20 to 30%. And then once we lose the daytime heating, after the sun sets, our rain chance is done for the day. So once again, let's take you through that KSAT 12-hour forecast, get you through the rest of the day. Temperatures will be warming into the low 70s with a few peaks of sunshine and 20 to 30% coverage on the radar. Then as we head into the evening, it'll be cool with rain coming to an end, temperatures in the 60s. Well, that's not it for our rain chances over the next couple of days. Even though it's going to be fairly dry through the work week, by Saturday, we've got some scattered showers and storms in the forecast, especially in the afternoon and evening. So coming up in the next half hour, I'm going to detail that rain chance over the weekend for you. Otherwise, though, it is going to be a pretty nice week. I know we've been pretty cloudy the last few days, so we're going to see a little bit more sun, mornings in the 50s, afternoons in the upper 70s and low 80s. And of course, more on that storm chance on Saturday coming up in the next half hour of the news at noon.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Coming up, the Masters have ended. We have a winner. We'll take a look at what Jon Rahm had to do to become a rookie Masters winner. And the Spurs season is over. Wasn't the best, but now the team will look forward to the draft, the chance the team has to get the #1 pick coming up. The Spurs season of learning ended yesterday in Dallas. There was no Keldon Johnson for the Spurs, no Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving for the Mavs. Neither team in the playoffs. Matter of fact, the Mavs just actually threw in the towel, and the league has questions. Still fun to watch, though. Malik Brennan scored 10 points in the first quarter last night. He had 16 by halftime. There he is from way outside. And that's the one by Blake Grizzly. Spurs led 42-14 after one. They led by 31 at the point of the first half. Second quarter, Dallas responds. Jaden Hardy scored 21 points in the quarter, doing all the work down in the paint. There you go. Outscored San Antonio 45-29 in the second. The Spurs still led 71-59 at halftime. Love that defense. Third quarter, Trey Jones cutting to the basket. He had 13. Later, it's Keita, Bates, Diop driving. And off the glass, but that's the follow. Putback slam by Dominic Barlow. He had 21 off the bench, part of his double-double. Spurs led 108-91 after three. All 5 Spurs starters in double figures yesterday. Fourth quarter, Spurs pull away for the final time this season. Sandro Mamoukelashvili got the bucket down low and nails the three. Both sides of the court. He led the Spurs with 23. San Antonio hangs on to win their final game of the year, 138-117.
They showed a lot of character. When you're losing as much as we've lost, it's easy to blame people. You know, my coach doesn't understand me, my teammate didn't do this. And none of that ever happened. The character and personalities on the team really meshed. They got along, they enjoyed each other, whether we're on the bus, on the plane, at dinner, on the court. They were a wonderful group to be around.
All right, so there's the final once again for you, 138-117. We're going to skip ahead and tell you about the standings. So Detroit finished with the worst record in the NBA, followed by San Antonio and Houston. They had identical 22-60 records. That's like the third worst in Spurs history, or tied for the second worst in Spurs history. Not good. Okay, so Houston, San Antonio, and Detroit all have a 14% chance at the #1 pick. If the Spurs don't win the top pick, the worst case scenario for them is they could get the 6th or 7th overall selection in the upcoming draft based on the coin flip with Houston since they tied. And the golfers were up early yesterday to finish the third round of the Masters because of the rain on Saturday. They played straight through into the final round at Augusta. Jordan Spieth with a huge day. 9 birdies for Jordan. A bogey on 18, though, knocked him out of the tie for second. He finished with a 6 under 66. Phil Mickelson was very, very good yesterday. Finished 7 under on the day. Lefty with the big putt on 18. He scored a 65, best in Masters history by a player 50 years or older, and it moved him to the tie for second. Brooks Koepka the start of the day. You can see that was his day all day long. He had the lead on the field, but then he collapsed in the final round. He posted a 6 under, 3 over 75. He had 6 bogeys. Jon Rahm, there it is. That's the putt for history for him. He takes the Masters, his first. He only carded 4 birdies on the final day. 3 under 69 was his final round, but it was enough to secure that 3-stroke win. on the final several holes. And there's the final score for round 276, 12 under. Phil Mickelson back at 8 under, 50 plus. Goes into second place. Man, he was challenging yesterday.
Way to go, Phil.
Yeah, Brooks Koepka at 8 under. He had the lead to start. And Jordan Spieth at 7 under. The great round he had yesterday. A lot of these guys were a little too late with their run yesterday,
They
though.
rallied a little too late.
Yep. But it was a good day. It was the Masters. What do you expect?
Yeah. I can't even get a bogey. Get a double bogey. Coming up in our next half hour, how the ousted lawmakers in Tennessee could potentially get their jobs back.
And what one local company is doing to help make up for the shortage of workers in emergency medical services.
New today at 5, what's the best laundry detergent? Maybe you've used the same one for years, but did you know many companies tweak their formula every year? At 5, several big name brands are put to the test, including those new laundry sheets you may have seen advertised. We're going to see how it all comes out in the wash today at 5 after Entertainment Tonight. We've been watching the radar, and yes, there are storms in our area, believe it or not.
Yeah, they're mainly up in Kerrville right now, Ursula, and in Bandera. And these are just your run-of-the-mill thunder showers. There's no severe weather here at all. Just really seeing some of these healthier downpours across Kirk County. We'll go ahead and zoom in to one area in particular along I-10, just to the north of Kerrville proper. You can see from Hunt to Ingram seeing some decent rain. Kerrville just getting on the light rain right now. Really, the heavier of this rainfall is out near Hunt and just south of Hunt. Around San Antonio, though, again, things are fairly quiet, although the energy that's producing these storms is going to continue to move south and east. So we do have the potential this afternoon for a few hit or miss thunder showers. The rest of this week is going to be pleasant. We'll gradually be warming with clearing skies, but I do want to detail the potential for some weekend storms, especially on Saturday. So all of this coming up in just a few minutes in the full forecast. See you in a bit.
Thank you, Sarah. Texas, like many states, still facing a shortage of workers in emergency medical services.
So, as a way to encourage more people to join the field, Acadian Ambulance is offering a short 11-day course for emergency care attendant.
Lee Waldman explains how the classes are paid and way to get your foot in the door for EMS.
More credentialed individuals that we have on the street means that there's more trucks on the street. We can get to our community a lot faster. There's people.
Recruiter for Acadian Ambulance, Christine Kerner, says since the pandemic, there has been a nationwide problem with finding people to join the EMS field.
The economy, the way that it is, I think that it's going to be a battle that we see for the near future, at least.
In December, we told you about the Texas legislature setting aside $21.7 million for EMS education and retention as a part of Senate Bill 8 to help combat the shortage. After our story aired,
we had 19 candidates come in the door ready to go. Of those 19, 15 signed offer letters and have their tuition completely paid for.
Joey Vela is currently in EMT classes with Acadian, benefiting from the state funding.
Not only am I able to work, but able to get the days off to go to class, not have to put anything out of pocket.
Before the EMT training, Vela took part in Acadian's Emergency Care Attendant, or ECA course. It's a paid 11-day class that gets your foot in the door for emergency medical services.
It's a building block to the next level of getting the EMT, and then after EMT, then your paramedic.
Acadian pays ECA participants hourly, and then when you complete the course and want to continue on to an EMT class, your EMT training will be paid for as well.
If you're not sure about EMS, you're kind of on the fence about EMS, this is a great stepping stone into that, or just the medical field in general.
The next ECA class for Acadians starts on May 5th. You'll need to be registered by mid-April. On our website, KSAT12, we have all of the information on how you can sign up for that class. Back to you.
Thank you, Lee. The Biden administration is fighting a federal judge's ruling in Texas to suspend the FDA's approval of mifepristone, one of the most commonly used drugs to end a pregnancy. U.S. District Judge Matthew Kaczmarek ruled to suspend the FDA approval of the drug, a pill used in more than half of the abortions in the U.S. Almost simultaneously, Friday, U.S. District Judge Thomas Rice in Washington state issued an injunction to protect access to the drug. President Biden's administration furiously responding, saying the drug's approval was well supported by science and that this challenge comes too late.
This is not America. What you saw by that one judge in that one court in that one state That's not America.
Leading medical organizations have condemned the Texas ruling to say the FDA-approved abortion pill is safe. The Health and Human Services Secretary also warns the judge's decision could impact the FDA's approval process for all drugs, from insulin to vaccines.
A nationwide debate launched by the expulsion of 2 state lawmakers in Tennessee who started a protest inside the chambers of the House there. They were found disorderly by House rules and then removed by a vote of fellow lawmakers. Well, now the 2 may be sworn back in. That's because vacancies at the State House can be filled on an interim basis by, quote, local leaders, unquote, until a special election is held. Church leaders want Representative Justin Jones sent back to the State House. He and fellow Representative Justin Pearson, again, both expelled. They led protesters onto the Tennessee House floor, pushing for tougher gun laws in response to last month's deadly school shooting in Nashville.
There are people who don't have anyone to do their constituent affairs anymore. We definitely have unfinished business.
Commissioners in Pearson's county could vote on Wednesday on sending him back to the State House.
Now to some business news. Stock traders are heading into the week with their first chance to digest new jobs numbers. The March jobs report showing that employers across the country added 236,000 jobs last month. That's still historically strong, but it is the smallest gain in more than 2 years.
Billions of dollars apparently being poured into new factories here. The Census Bureau says construction related to manufacturing hit $108 billion last year. That's the most on record. That's more than what was spent on schools, healthcare facilities, or even offices.
Still coming up this half hour, the San Antonio Book Festival kicks off this weekend, and we are hearing from one author on how she hopes her book can get people talking real-life events happening across the world.
Plus, good news for the endangered tiger population in India. It is on the rise. We're going to take a look at what's being done to help rebuild this population later in sports.
And why Samsung says they'll be cutting their memory chip production, and why COVID-19 is to blame.